Hello everybody and welcome to Module 4 where we're going to be examining genetically modified foods. So first I would just want to do a few announcements. I did post quiz 1 that will be available for you from February 1st until when it's due on February 7th. So that will be 10 multiple choice questions worth 2 points each for a total of 20 points. And you'll have 15 minutes to complete the quiz. You need to do it independently, but you can use your materials. You can use your readings, and all of the questions are from the readings in lecture. Also, coming up, you have your paper, topic, and references due on March 6th. So really, you can just give me, so what you should be doing, I guess, at this point is looking through the literature and identifying a topic that's of interest to you that pertains to environmental nutrition and trying to determine an appropriate scope of the paper so that you are going to review or critique approximately 10 original journal articles. And you can read more about that assignment. The assignment is posted, or assignment description is posted in the assignments module, so you can look more at that. But what I need on March 6th is literally one sentence describing your topic. You can write more, especially if you want more feedback from me. And then just the citations for the approximately 10 articles that you're going to critique on the topic. So this will just be a one-page topics and references. I also posted the diet assignment. So this is not due until March 20th, but you can do it at any time. So I just wanted to get it to you ahead of time so that you could do it when it fit with your schedule. So again, the description is posted, but basically it's going to be, you're going to do a 24-hour food diary and then just examine certain aspects of the food and reflect on it. So, no grading associated with the types of food you're eating or quality of food or what you think of it. The grading won't have to do with that. It's that you complete the assignment and then you reflect on the food that was on your 24-hour food diary. Okay, so that's enough for housekeeping. And the reason that I did announcements via a video today is because I'm not really going to do a lecture. So genetically modified organisms is an extremely polar issue, and you will find huge parties on both sides of the issue that are extremely against GMOs, or at least believe in labeling the GMOs, and then you have the complete other side that believes these products are completely safe and necessary in order for us to move forward in supplying enough food for the world. So I think this is such a controversial topic because it really, I guess, appeals to people's most basic beliefs. You know, when we're talking about genetic modification, we're really talking about, in a nutshell, taking genes from one organism and inserting them into a different organism in order to get some desirable property. And, you know, some people believe that that goes beyond the scope of science. And as I said, others believe that we really need to pursue this technology. So, honestly, it was, even looking at the academic literature, it was very difficult to find non-biased review of this topic, just because usually you have individuals sitting in one camp or the other. So the materials for today were chosen very carefully. If you want just first an overview of GMOs, read the Ohio State University Extension kind of Q&A document basically about GMOs. And then there's 2 review articles on the topic. So again, these were chosen very carefully because I think that they represent a balanced discussion of the advantages and disadvantages of GMOs. I do want to mention that we have been doing more review articles in this class than I typically do. I usually rely more on the original articles, but I think that some of these topics we've been discussing are definitely pertinent to our field of nutrition, but can be, I think the original articles can be extremely technical in their own discipline. So if we're talking about genetic modification, maybe it's not as important to our profession that we know exactly how that was done, but really what does it mean to our clients and to us and to our environment. So these articles are both review articles, and they give a lot of references if you are interested in looking more at the technical aspect of it. But otherwise, they do give a good review about how studies that examine GMOs are done. So those are two really good articles. And then in light of the lecture, of me doing a lecture, I posted a debate that was hosted by University of California, Santa Barbara, and it's a debate of two experts that sit on opposite sides of this issue, either promoting or defending against genetically modified organisms. And so they make both excellent arguments on either side of this issue. So between that debate, which is lengthy, it's an hour and a half, so I didn't want to give you double the lecture to listen to. And also, so between those experts and these review articles, I felt like those would give a balanced information that will allow you to make your own conclusions. And I don't think I could do any better than these resources do. So just really quickly, though, I do want to look at just a couple of things, which are GMOs in the news. So here I have a couple of links that I just want to look at really quick that are very current issues concerning genetically modified foods that have been in the news. So this first one is about the approval of genetically modified salmon, which is the first genetically modified animal food that has been approved for consumption. And this is an ABC News website, and this was just from November of 2015. So let's watch this.
Monster Energy Supercross.
Sorry about this.
Brought to you by Mission Motorsports Irvine. It's a whole new season, and the Supercross title is up for grabs. See top riders fight until the finish line. January 23rd at Angels Stadium.
What?
Food and Drug Administration today approved the first genetically modified animal to eat, salmon.
Proponents believe it'll help lower the cost, but critics argue consumers are in the dark about what they're eating. And Eyewitness News reporter Lori Corbin has more.
For the first time ever, genetically modified salmon can make it to your dinner table. It's the first altered animal product approved by the FDA for consumption.
The only difference that the Food and Drug Administration could determine was that the salmon grows faster. Nutritionally, it's identical to salmon that is grown using conventional techniques.
Aqua Bounty, the company behind the engineered salmon, calls it a game changer, taking DNA from a Chinook salmon and from a sea eel to produce a new salmon that grows quickly from birth. ABC News toured Aqua Bounty's Panama facility in 2012, where a typical Atlanta salmon is dwarfed by the genetically altered fish.
You get the market size at least 12 months before any other type of salmon that's out there.
Critics, though, call it Frankenfish and are concerned changing an animal's genetic code could lead to human health issues over time.
In a recent New York Times poll, 75% of the respondents said they would not eat the so-called Frankenfish, and 1.8 million people have sent letters to the FDA opposing approval.
But just like genetically modified crops, the FDA determined there was no safety or nutritional difference requiring engineered salmon to be labeled, meaning consumers may not know they're eating it.
I do feel it should be labeled.
We need GMOs in order to sustain our food supply.
The hotly debated issue has even led some in Hollywood to demand labels for all genetically modified food.
I have the right to know what's in the food that I feed my family.
If this is a concern to you, you'll want to choose wild-caught salmon, since the genetically engineered fish will be raised in a facility. Lori Corbin, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, sorry about that intro. So as you can see, even from this recent story, it's just still incredibly controversial, especially among consumers. Now, another issue is the labeling of genetically modified foods, and I would say this is an extremely heated issue. As you'll hear in the debate, Europe does require labeling of genetically modified foods, from what I've heard, that was largely consumer driven. So if we hear an argument saying, well, Europe labels it, we have to consider where is that coming from, and and what rights do people have to know what's in their food. So this has been a really contested issue, and this recent story on GMO labeling just came out this month. And this is just a audio file.
This is Marketplace. I'm Kai Rizdal. A granddaddy of American food manufacturing is making a big break from its industry. Campbell's Soup, which also makes Pepperidge Farm cookies, Prego pasta sauce, and much, much more, is backing mandatory labeling of foods containing genetically modified ingredients. Marketplace's Mark Garrison explains why.
The background of this is an upcoming Vermont law requiring GMO labeling. The industry's nightmare is having to make different labels for different states. Food companies, including Campbell, have been in overdrive fighting that scenario, pushing instead for voluntary GMO labels. But Campbell is now backing nationwide mandatory labeling, and it's ready to go further, says Mark Alexander, a Campbell president.
If federal legislation does not happen for whatever reason, we would then move forward and work directly with the regulatory authorities, the USDA and the FDA, to try and find language that works, that they would permit, and just move ahead unilaterally and put it onto our packages.
For years, food companies and their pricey lobbyists moaned that GMO labeling would be exceptionally difficult. Alexander says that's no longer the case for Campbell. It already gathered up GMO data for its website.
The execution on a national basis of changing labels and flowing those through our supply chain and getting them onto the shelf is very straightforward. We do this every day of the week as part of our business.
For Campbell, it's a chance to get some street cred by stepping forward on an issue certain people care about. This comes at a time when the company needs to show Wall Street it can do well outside canned food, a type of product out of favor with many Americans. Campbell says its U.S. soup sales were down 3% recently. And if the move helps short-circuit the Vermont law, it could save the company the money and hassle of complying with differing state laws.
I think it's a big deal.
John Stanton is a St. Joseph's University food marketing professor who has worked with many big food companies, including Campbell some years back. He thinks the move could spur others in the industry to change their stances.
It's breaking ranks with everyone else. I think it can make a big difference.
But there's also risk in sticking its neck out. Being open about GMO ingredients calls attention to them, which will turn some shoppers off. For now, Campbell execs say they're fine with the risk. It'll be up to customers to prove them right or wrong. In New York, I'm Mark Garrison for Marketplace.
Okay, so that just highlights a very recent development in GMO labeling that is actually surprisingly driven by manufacturers, a food manufacturer. And then this last one, oh, nuts. It didn't link. Let's see here. Okay. This is just a resource that was passed on to me, which I thought was interesting, that it talks about how if you are interested in identifying your produce that's genetically modified, you can do that. So that doesn't, by the produce sticker, so that doesn't really do much if you're consuming a processed food, but they do discuss that, here's this little snippet here, that stickers on fruits and vegetables can tell you quite a bit. So 4 numbers means it was conventionally grown. 5 numbers starting with 8 means that it's genetically modified. And 5 numbers starting with 9 means that it was organically grown, which would mean that it doesn't have any genetically modified as well. So if you were trying to look for food that wasn't produce, at least that was not genetically modified, you could use this numbering system and also pass the information on to your clients. Okay, so that's all that I have for you right now. Enjoy the UCSB debate and your readings, and I look forward to hearing discussion from you on the discussion board. Thanks and have a great week.